Welcome, Fantasy Balls managers. We had a real roller coaster week in our matchups for Week 11. Blowouts, nail biters, and upsets, all to keep our season entertaining. There's only one change in our standings this week, and while our standings barely changed, the playoff race has only gotten more interesting, but more on that later. We opened this Week 11 with the blowout of the Troy Troglodytes, only putting up 81.2 points and not having a single player score more than 20. This kind of performance really makes you wonder if the Troglodytes came prepared to play a game at all. Trubiscuits and Gravy easily won the matchup, improving to 8-3 on the season, and are inching closer to clinching a playoff spot. Moving to the East, we had Team Sternly taking care of business against Team Wallach. Team Sternly continues to put up big numbers, expanding their lead as the season's top scorer and becoming the first team this year to pass 1,500 points. Team Sternly and Team Wallach swap positions in the standings, being 3rd and 4th respectively, both sitting at 6 and 5 on the year. Moving into the nail-biter games, in Week 11 there were 3 games that were decided by less than 2 points. Team Cornobus came through with the upset in their matchup. While mathematically Team Cornobus is still the only team eliminated from the playoffs, their win over Barclays Thunderthighs keeps 3 teams' hopes alive for clinching a spot themselves. Barclays Thunderthighs could not overcome a weak outing from Saquon Barkley himself, and is now looking to get back into the playoff conversation. Upstate New York Sucks could not keep their lead and pull off a similar upset against the Seattle Sucker Punchers. The Sucker Punchers were able to eke out a win without a wide receiver playing, which only makes the victory that much more impressive. The Sucker Punchers are also closing in on a postseason berth, but have yet to clinch yet. Finally, we arrive to the game of the week. Quite the game this ended up being, with the first place Draft No Whites taking on the 4th string cheerleaders. This game was decided in the last minute of the Sunday night game, where Patrick Mahomes led a game-winning drive, scoring a touchdown with 31 seconds left in the game to win the matchup for the Draft No Whites by .94 points. Go buck yourself, Patrick Mahomes. Next week matchup of the week will be the 2 first-place teams as Trubiscuits and Gravy travels to take on the Draft No Whites as a potential finals preview. Speaking of playoffs, looking forward, the league has 3 games remaining, and believe it or not, not a single team has clinched a playoff spot. Everyone mathematically, outside of Team Cornobus, still has a chance to punch their ticket to the playoff. Now, while we have a few teams that would need to get very lucky, due to ESPN's playoff format, the door is still open. The 4 and 7 teams Upstate New York Sucks and Troy Troglodytes still have a long shot. They would both need to win out, however they play each other in Week 13. And they would also need a massive shift in points to win a tiebreaker. While the other 4 and 7 team, the 4-string cheerleaders, also need to win out, but as things stand, would have an easier path for a tiebreaker of points scored. However, if any of the 4 and 7 teams lose, they will be eliminated from the playoffs. Barclays Thunderthighs sits at 5 and 6 and could afford a loss, but would make things very difficult because outside of the division winners, anyone can make the playoffs. Meaning, just because Barclays Thunderthighs comes in second place in their division does not guarantee them a playoff spot. If the playoffs started today, the East would be sending 3 teams to the playoffs. And while it is a long shot, both of the current first place teams could miss out on the playoffs. If they have a massive meltdown and lose out, and there's a slight shift in scoring, they could both miss the playoffs. Lastly, today I discovered a new website that gave me all kinds of new information about our league, one being the power rankings. These power rankings are determined using points scored plus points scored times winning percentage plus points scored times winning percentage if played against the median score of the week. Not that formula is very important for everyone to know, but I just want you guys to know I didn't just make some shit up. So, using this formula, the power rankings are as follows. Number 1, Team Sternly. Number 2, Draft No Whites. Number 3, Trubiscuits and Gravy. Number 4, Team Wallach. Number 5, 4th String Cheerleader. Number 6, the Seattle Sucker Punchers. Number 7, Barclays Thunderthighs. Number 8, Upstate New York Sucks. Number 9, Team Cornobus. And number 10, Troy Troglodytes. Which is kind of shocking, being that, Cornobus is already out of the playoffs, but they're not last. So, Get tossed, Chumba. Best luck to all teams in Week 12, and we will see you then for the recap. Fuck, I missed the button.